Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Jaya Ahuja. I'm a faculty at School of Management and undergraduate program head at BML Munjal University. I welcome you all for this discussion today about the BBA having a program edge and the new 8 specializations, which we will hear from the experts. So we have with us today Professor Davinder Singh, who's an Assistant Dean Strategy and Innovation at BMU, Dr. Rick Paul, Associate Professor, Marketing Area and Program Head for PG programs. And we have Dr. Chirag Malik, Associate Professor in Business Analytics. So I welcome you all.
Thank you.
Talking about BBA programs as such, you will see that management programs have increased their popularity. They have started gaining a lot of popularity today because of the increasing in career options that are available for BBA graduates. So BBA, of course, is a professional undergrad program which equips you with adequate knowledge and skills in business and management. One of the most popular bachelor degrees because BBA graduates have a clarity of what options they would like to choose for their career development, for career and in future. That is, they are very clear with business administration being their core area. So with this, I would like to tell you that BBA is a perfect career option if you want to be employable, if you want to have managerial skills as well as technical skills. And also the most important thing that we keep talking about today is entrepreneurship. So BBA program also helps you in building entrepreneurial skills. BBA program offered at BMU is an extensive program wherein the students study different types of courses. They have core, skill, perspective courses, and the reason why we have these courses is not only to develop the technical knowledge of students but also for cognitive skills, communication skills, life skills and modeling skills, which are equally important. The BBA program structure is designed by the industry experts and the international experts as well. So that is the reason why it is such an extensive and a rigorous program where students undergo internships. Now these internships are for about 8 weeks wherein the student gets an industry exposure by working on certain live projects, some live problems and providing solutions for the same. Apart from that, we also have social internship wherein the student may work with an NGO or take up a social issue and try to address that problem. So these are some of the important USPs of the BBA program, which helps you in holistic development as an individual. Now, there's a unique transformation that happens. So it's a transformative journey for a BBA graduate in all the 3 years. So you have outbound learning, you have experiential learning, and of course, global exposure, wherein the students go for certain summer school programs, they have faculty exchange, they have student exchange, so to build effective communication and life skills. So, and also entrepreneurship, wherein which helps you in idea generation, writing a business plan. So all these things groom an individual holistically so that when you acquire these managerial skills, you become industry ready, or you're ready. If you have a business idea, you're ready for becoming an entrepreneur. Now, the other thing that the university focuses on is complex problem solving and leadership. And that's the reason why you would see that there is a lot of pedagogical innovation that happens here. The pedagogical innovation, by pedagogical innovation, I mean that we use a lot of case studies for the students. We have gamifications, that is game-based learning, wherein the student is given a particular situation, has to work in teams, understands conflict resolution methods, understands team building, team management. There are a lot of other skills that are developed with the help of game-based learning approach. The other thing that we do is wherein the students themselves form a group, they are a part of club, they design a lot of activities, they actively participate, and they drive the entire program. So by this, I would like to tell you that, there are a lot of skills that are required by the industry apart from your technical skills. And BBA program overall helps you in becoming a good manager and in becoming a good leader for tomorrow. The other aspect that we use is psychometric profiling for the students. So by using psychometric profiling, the students are very clear with their personality types, and this can also help them in understanding what are the career options that fit. So basically it's about the personality career fit, wherein the student understands what my personality is and what is the right career choice for me. So saying all this, I would just like to share with you that after completing 2 years of extensive study, wherein the student has acquired a lot of skills, so you have a lot of perspective courses, skill-based courses, and core courses, now it is time to select the electives. So when we talk about electives, generally we've heard of HR, marketing, finance, operations management, and IT. So the students get confused at this point in time that what is the career track that I should choose. So apart from these electives, we also have some new age specializations, and that is what we'll hear from the experts today, that digital marketing, family business and entrepreneurship, business analytics, they form a new age of specialization. Looking at the current situation, there is a lot of change, rapid change, in fact, that is happening in the job market today. So let us understand that why digital marketing as an elective should be chosen, because we have to think 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, not about the present situation. So I would like to invite Dr. Rick Paul to share some light on digital marketing as a specialization. Over to you, Professor Paul.
Thank you, Professor Jaya, and good afternoon, everyone who has joined in. Before I understand, I'm just looking at the QA boxes, and I have seen a few questions that have popped up, and I'm sure these questions will be addressed some point later during this webinar. But I know that many of you are in a state of confusion, as in regarding your career choices, regarding as in whether you should be at all going for a BBA coursework. I know because you all come from very varied backgrounds in your class 2, and all of you have these days the career choices are ample, and there is no fixed direction, as in like when you were studying, so our direction was yes, I will go for an engineering or you become a doctor, or nothing works out, then you do a graduation and then do a master's and look out for jobs, right? So now the perspective towards education and the kind of things that you would like to acquire and the kind of person that you want to be for in next 2 years or 3 years or maybe probably 5 years down the line has changed quite a lot. I'll come to digital marketing and what digital marketing and is and the kind of proficiency it could give you at this point in time. But let me give you a little perspective to it. Why are we even talking about, why did Professor Jaya talk about all these changes and what the BBA curricula can do to you as a person? You see, 10 years back, let's assume 10, 20 years back, if someone wants, let's take an example. If someone wanted to become or choose being a cab driver as a profession. Say someone wants to become a cab driver as a profession 20 years back, right? What would the skill sets that they would require? They would need to know how to drive a car. They need to understand road signs. They need to understand navigate the roads. These are the 3 primary skill sets that they would require. So you need to be a good driver. You need to know how to drive a car. You need to have a driving license for that. You need to know road signs and road symbols, and you need to know how to navigate because GPS was not available during that point. So you have to have a good knowledge of the streets, right, and the roads. Now, today, if someone wants to become a cab driver as a profession, pick up cab driver as a profession, look at the kind of skill sets that you would require. He needs to know how to drive a car. He needs to know, the road signs, right, and he needs to know how to navigate the streets. But in addition to all of these things, he has to be literate enough to understand the mechanisms of Ola and Uber. He has to be literate enough to have a bank account. He needs to understand online payment gateways. He needs to understand how to look at a GPS and navigate the roads that he does not know. He needs to understand. I mean, I'm sure that you all have taken an Ola Uber ride at some point in time, and as soon as the ride is over, you rate the driver on multiple different skills. So how was it like? Was the car clean? So many different things. So which means the driver also needs to understand the importance of cleanliness of the car. The driver needs to understand that yes, wearing a good dress and talking politely to the customer makes a difference. So these were not the skill sets required 20 years back. I'm still driving a taxi, right? I'm still driving a cab. But you see the skill sets that I require right now to excel in that particular field has changed. Now, I gave you this example of a cab driver because it is something that you have all experienced. Now, these skill sets, you see 80-90% of the skill sets, new skill sets that this guy needs to know, this cab driver needs to know, is all based on his understanding or his interaction with the digital world, isn't it? And that's why we talk about digital marketing as a proficiency, irrespective of whether you want to get into sales, whether you want to get into marketing, whether you want to get into branding. You need to have a solid foundation of digital marketing. Now, when I say digital marketing, we are not just looking at the marketing that happens on social media platforms and and the online interface and Google. No, I'm not talking about it. When there are multiple ways of marketing yourself digitally, and there are a lot of digital products and services that has come into existence. Even those push messages that you get in your mobile phone, the WAP messages that you get in your mobile phone, where you can click, these are text messages where you can click to go to a different website. Then the barcode that has come into existence. So these are tools and techniques that you need to learn. Probably you are doing the same thing. So probably you are going ahead and reaching out to a customer. Probably you are going ahead and selling a product. Probably you are going ahead and creating your own business plan. But understanding the digital platforms, understanding the digital market gives you an edge over any person who is not aware of such kind of tools and techniques. And if you look at all the companies that has come up over the last 10 years, they're all platform economy, right? So either you look at Swiggy, you look at Ola, you look at Uber, you look at Urban Clap, you look at Paperfry, you look at so much. Name all the popular businesses. They have all gone online, and they have started their business online. Their business model is online for that matter. And there are brick and mortar companies which have gone online, and now the situation has become very, very complicated, right? So there are brick and mortar companies. Now you look at companies like Shopper Stop, right? So they are brick and mortar companies. They have gone online, and there are multiple brick and like Reliance Digital. They have gone online. So all the brick and mortar companies have gone online. Online companies have gone to brick and mortar setups, like Lenskart for that matter. It started off as a company which was purely online. Now it came up with their offline retail stores, right? So there is a mix and match of digital platforms as well as standard way of doing business. Now, in order to appreciate both the worlds, you need to get a specialization in digital marketing. And let me just tell you what exactly you would learn. I mean, just give you a quick idea of when I'm looking at a BBA in digital marketing, what exactly would I learn over a period of time, over the period of 3 years that you would spend with us in our university or any other university for that matter. They would take you, these courses, this specialization would take you, of course, first couple of years would be all standardized courses because you need to understand business as a whole, right? So that's the entire idea. So bachelor's in business administration with digital marketing specialization. So your first thing that you need to know is understand the fundamentals of business, right? So of course you have to go through a lot of courses which teaches you the fundamentals. Now, when you move to the specialization bit, you would learn about, how to design websites, how to put in content there, how to optimize the website so that, whenever someone looks for your website or looks for your product online, your website comes on top of the search page, right? You do a lot of Google search over a period of time, right? So you search in and you want your website or the business to come on top of that page. So these are search engine optimization techniques that you will learn. You would also learn how to go ahead and advertise your business online. So you have seen ads popping up. So when you search for something, there's ads that come on top. You will know all these mechanisms, how those things happen. And if you want to go ahead and do these campaigns yourself, how would you go about putting all these things to perspective? At the same time, you would learn a whole bunch of tools and techniques to understand the digital data. So, right, I'm sure you would have heard of things like big data, right? So big data is nothing but data for one single customer in multiple different formats. So every person has a digital footprint, right? So you as a person, you would have multiple ways in which you go online, right? So be it WhatsApp, be it Facebook, be it sending messages, be it your Instagram, be it your search, be it your YouTube channel, whatever ways you interact with people and you put your content online. So that's a digital footprint of yours. So you would you would learn tools and techniques, a lot of analytical techniques to understand digital footprints of customers. You would also look at strategies to increase your online traffic. You look at areas where you need to understand where you develop yourself. I mean, you develop business models yourself, which would either be aggregator based or advertisement driven, right? So these are a lot of nitty gritties about conducting or doing business online that you would learn. Plus, why this course and this, if you have a knack for digital marketing and if you are into social media and if you love what is happening in the digital space, even the fact that now you look at what has happened in this COVID-19 lockdown, right? So the digital footprint of a customer has increased multiple folds. So there is someone sitting somewhere who is analyzing all this data and trying to come up with proper value, I mean proper business propositions, right? During these situations. Plus, there are a lot of new entrepreneurial jobs that has come into existence, right? Which was not there earlier. Say, for instance, millions of dollars just being YouTuber. You see, that was a job that was not existent like 20 years back. Now you want to be a YouTuber and you want to create content and craft content. You need to know what is the right content. You need to know, how should you go ahead and put up that content online. You need to know how to go ahead and market that content. So these are all advertising based model, and this is a new job role. This is a new entrepreneurial role that has come into this. It was not there earlier. Now, getting into a digital marketing specialization would teach you all these different things. For instance, I'll just give you some examples. Like Jaya earlier was talking about experiential learning, about hands-on learning. I mean, a part of the BBA coursework specialization in digital marketing, I take a couple of courses where my students create their own website, right? So once you go through this specialization, you would have your own website. You would know all the nitty-gritties. And these days, creating website need not require you to do enormous coding techniques. There are different software tools and techniques available that any person, without even any knowledge of coding, they can go ahead and create their websites, right? And so my students create their websites, they market their websites, they put up products and services there. Right? So this is hands-on. So you try and test whatever you are learning in real time. So that's an advantage that happens to you, or that you can reap when you opt for a specialization in digital marketing. Right? I'll take up questions later on. Probably I'll again move over to Jaya ma'am to take charge. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ray. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights on digital marketing. We have already started getting a lot of questions here. So we'll be taking the Q&A at the end, and then specific faculty, if you want to ask specific faculty, please type down the names. If you want the question to be directed to Professor Rick, Professor Chirag, me, or Professor Davinder, you may please write down. Okay. So next we would now discuss about BBA in business analytics. You might have heard about analytics, data mining. All these areas have become very popular now, and why analytics should be a career option that you should be choosing, why it is the right career option for you. Let's hear from Dr. Chirag on this. So over to you, Dr. Chirag. Please tell us about business analytics as a specialization.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Professor Jaya, for giving me the opportunity to talk with these, the future generation of our India. Yeah, see, I would like to discuss something not only related to analytics, but I would also like to discuss something which is related to overall business management decision-making process. When I say management decision-making process, what does that mean? On what basis? Like, in case if you think in number of businesses, be it a small business or a big business or a middle level business, just think of how the businesses are being run. They are just solely based on one thing: the quality of the decision taken by the decision managers. The manager may be sitting at a top position, manager may be sitting at a middle level position, manager may be sitting at a very lower level position, but they take decisions. And their decision actually decides about the success and the failure of that particular business. On what basis the manager takes the decision? Only one base, and that one base is the information that the manager has. Now, in case if he does not have information, he will not take decision. He'll just play gamble. He'll just do a kind of guess kind of thing. He'll use his whims and his fancies to take, to play that gamble. So a decision has to be well informed decision, so that you know the outcome, the probable outcome of your decision. And the basis is information. And then now the next big question is how you get that information. Now, in this particular scenario where people have the devices like mobile phones, wherever you go, people are digitally connected to each other. You go to any shop, you'll you have to either you have the website of that particular business, or you give your information to that particular shop, and that particular shop actually sends you some sort of messages and all, which is actually digital marketing, as Dr. Rick Paul said. So now they are also collecting the data and all. So how the businesses get the information, that is totally based on the data that the businesses have. So it means to take a right decision, you need to have information. And how you get the information? By analyzing the data you have. As said by Mukesh Ambani, as data is the new oil. What does that mean? It means in case if you have the data, you are the king. But the thing is how to analyze that particular data so that you can convert it into a very useful information, and then you can use that information to take right decision. And here comes the role of business analytics or data analytics. So when I say business analytics, I mean to say that the data which pertains to business, so that you can take, you can analyze the data and take right decision in that particular business. Now the question comes, how to keep the data, how to procure the data, how to manage the data, how to organize the data, how to analyze the data, and then how to interpret so that I can convert it into information. So here is the role of that particular course of BBA in business analytics, wherein you will first understand what you mean by data, because data is of various types. Number of people are increasing who are doing businesses. Number of people who are coming on mobile phones, number of people who are coming on laptops using digital platform are increasing. It means that now it has becoming daily, it has becoming a great challenge for the businesses to actually tap on the opportunity of these people who are coming on the digital platform. So in case if I'm able to do that, it means I will definitely win the war. So how can I do that? So for that, I need first to understand where is the data available. So first identifying the data. So this is one thing which we are going to learn, that where to find the data, and then how to procure that data and how to keep that data. When I say procure and keeping, I mean that database management systems, cloud, computer clouding and on, so that you can fetch the data, and data mining, so that you can take the right kind of data so that you can work on that particular data. So data mining that you do, and then analyzing the data using where tools. In case if it is a big data, means the data, the size of the data is immense, it's a very big size, then we have a different way of analyzing the data. If the data pertains to small amount of data, but it pertains to a particular functional area, for example HR analytics. In case if the data pertains to marketing, then it is marketing analytics. How to do pricing of a particular product, how to promote a particular product, what should be the right promotional strategy. All these kind of information are can be answered using the data analysis technique. So we have various different data analysis techniques, and for that we need to have some super specialized softwares which can be used to analyze that particular data, so that you can easily get the information which you want. For example, we have SPSS, we have R, we have Python, and advanced Excel even. So these kind of things that we are going to learn in case of BBA, business analytics. And in case if I talk about the kind of job prospects, the opportunities, that is the job opportunities in in the market for business analytics. So let me tell you, there is no company which does not require a person who has a knowledge of business analytics. Means you have to have that minimum knowledge of business or data analytics, so that that would be an added advantage. Even if you go to marketing, in case if you say, yes, I know sales and marketing, but I also have a knowledge of how to analyze the marketing data, that would be an added advantage. In the same fashion, if you are a person of HR and you say, yes, I'm a person of HR, but I also know how to do HR analytics, means how to actually analyze the data which is basically pertains to human resources, then you have an added advantage. So this is important, and same is the case with operations management. Same is the case with anything. So you talk about entrepreneurship. Most of the entrepreneurs are working on one basic fundamental thing, and that is their data. In case if they don't have data, people are not going for entrepreneurship. So they actually think, they work on the data, and then they find, yes, this is the amount, this is number of people, this is the size of market that requires a particular product or service. And how do you come to know that this is the size of market which requires a particular product or service? Only by analyzing the data. And how to predict a particular market? Then again, you analyze the data. So there are techniques. So what I would say, that even if you think that data analytics may not be your cup of tea, but still you need to have minimum amount of knowledge of data analytics techniques and tools, so that would give you another skill set to get more industry ready and job ready. This is what I believe as far as BBA, business analytics, is concerned. Professor Jaya.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Professor Chirag. Sir is absolutely right when he's talking about business analytics, that there is a lot of data available, but we need to understand data handling, data analysis, and data interpretation. Of course, it's the need of the hour. And also not to get disheartened if you feel that business analytics is not the area that you would like to go on. Rightly said by Professor Chirag that some basic amount of understanding is absolutely required, and that is what we do in a BBA program. That is, we have descriptive business analytics as a core course for all the students to have a basic level of understanding for analytics. So like for example, sir was talking about HR analytics, marketing analytics, or even financial analytics. So students who opt for a career in HR, marketing, or finance may also go for HR analytics, marketing analytics, or financial analytics as such. Thank you so much, Professor Chirag. Now let's hear about how BBA will help you in your own family business or in starting a business. Okay, so we'll invite Professor Davinder Singh here, and sir, I would like you to share with our students here that how do they run their family business, how do they achieve their goals and targets, and second is, if they want to set up something on their own, how do they go about the same? So how this BBA program will help them. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Jaya. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all keeping well and are safe. Let me begin by asking you a question, and I would request the participant to answer the question using the chat box. How many of you are coming from families which have a business, meaning somebody very close, your father or maybe very close uncle is running a business? All right, I can see people have started putting in. All right, yes. Very good. So quite a few of you are there. So, family business has a very interesting dynamics and context. Okay, very good. Yeah. Oh, it's very heartening to know that many of you on the panel today, or on the webinar today, are actually having a family business background. That's very good. So you guys must be certainly in the last 8 weeks would have realized that what running a family business is all about. I'm sure you would have seen some areas of concern being expressed by your elders during this lockdown, and you've been very close to them during this 8 weeks period. So running a family business is a very, very challenging job. Running any business is a challenging job. It really requires you not to be just responsible for doing a very small bit. Now, let's look at it a little differently. If you do a BBA, you do an MBA, and you go and join an organization, you would typically look after some part of the business. You will have some responsibility, which will certainly not be for the entire business. But if you are going to go and join your business, then you're going to run the entire business, irrespective whether the business is small or large. Okay, which means you will have to look at all the functions. You will have to look at finance. Certainly, you would have to look at operations. And in case you are into something which is into manufacturing, you would really have to get into manufacturing operations. You would certainly be looking after generating demand, generating revenue, and managing people working in the business. So all those who are looking at being involved in running a business, their family business or starting their own business, you would then immediately be handling everything that you would come across in any of the programs, whether it's BBA, BMS, MBA, wherever. So you would not have the luxury of saying, okay, I will first make myself very good at marketing, and then I will pick up a few other things and then rise to a general manager position. In this case, you become a general manager, you become an owner, you become responsible not just for the business, but for everything within the business, including the people within the business. So all those of you who are wanting to get into family business or running your own business, please use this first year to not just see as, okay, I will learn few things about other, but learn that this is what your foundation will be, and then you will say, okay, now where would I need to specialize a little bit more so that I can handle the whole business versus a part of it. And that's where several courses which will be given exclusively to the students, family business, enterprise, are the one they will actually go through those courses. These courses are intended to build your general management capability faster than the rest of the cohort. Okay, so that's the thing that we have kept in mind, that you would, when you graduate, should be able to go back to your family and say that you are now equipped to start taking on responsibility in any part of the business that they would see you to be handling. Now, what's happening is that in the last 8 weeks, a lot of businesses have realized that the dynamics going forward will change significantly. There will be government policies which will change. The environment has changed a lot. The consumer demand and behavior has changed a lot. All of these would require many of the businesses to go through a change. To facilitate these kind of changes and keeping that in mind, our program, this entire BBA program, Family Business, will also include these respective dynamics, the changes which need to come in. Apart from that, you would also get a lot of experience by interacting with business people. So while as an overall during the program, you would go to various industry, various organizations, you will interact with a lot of industry leaders, the entire cohort. The student for family business enterprises will also have an opportunity to interact with owners and people who run small family businesses. So we will create those opportunities for you. More importantly, we have on our campus facilities, incubation facilities, entrepreneurship facilities, which will allow you to say, okay, my family has been running a business for a long time, but I'm no longer interested in that particular business. But I still would like to have something where I run it and make a mark for myself. To facilitate these kind of desires, we have a incubator called Propel, in which we run various programs. We run foundation program, which basically helps the students from identifying an idea or a problem and taking it up to a point where they can prove that this idea of theirs is credible and has the potential to become a business in itself. And in case they would want to pursue that idea further and get more serious about it, they can even be facilitated to go through the next program, which is called the incubator program, in which the students, rather, they're no longer, we don't call them students when they join this program, we call them as aspiring entrepreneurs. So you can then actually start to build a company, actually register a company. You can seek funding from the investors, be it angel investors, or at the begin with, or some seed funding. There are several government policies and grants which can be sought. And while you're doing this, you will get mentorship from successful experts and entrepreneurs. And we would therefore be very happy to kind of work with all of you who are interested in going into this field of entrepreneurship. The idea of putting this whole thing together is to therefore allow all those participants who will join this program is to be able to, when they pass out from this program, they don't need to kind of go look elsewhere or try and seek experience somewhere else. But if they want to go and be a part of the family business or start another business of their own, they would feel completely equipped and supported to do that. And there are some questions. We would be happy to take them on as we. I think we would have some time now to do that. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much, and look forward to many of you joining BML Munjal University, and wish you all the luck as you go forward.
Thank you so much, Professor Davinder. So you'll, even if students take BBA Family Business as a specialization, you'll be studying some core courses, and then later on, as Professor Davinder stated, that the courses will be custom tailored for specific students who will be taking entrepreneurship. So courses like design thinking, creativity, innovation, designing a business model and business plan will be the courses that will be taught to family business students. But before that, of course, to run a business, you need to have knowledge of HR, marketing, finance, all the other areas. So general management courses, and those insights will be provided to you. So I thank all the panelists here for sharing about the new age specializations that we have. And let's now take Q&A. So the first question here. Okay, so we have a question here from Vaishnavi, who is asking that if I opt for finance and banking, can we explore the opportunities in front of us in the coming days? So Dr. Chirag, would you like to answer this? If the student wants to opt for finance and banking courses, will they have the opportunities in the coming days?
Yes, absolutely. I think the opportunity in banking and finance will never ever end. And I think in case if you go see banking and finance and take a financial analytics as one of the subjects, which is a selective subjects, and in case if they opt for that, then that will give you an added advantage. So don't worry about that. Job opportunities in banking and finance is immense, and it is increasing. And rather, we have in our university, we have collaboration with KPMG as well. So they have opportunity to work in the area of forensic science, as well as risk management. So it is always now it's a very good thing actually.
Students, please be informed that if you're talking about a BBA General program, does not mean that it is specialization free. BBA General also offers specializations which you have to choose after you complete second year, wherein the student goes for an HR, marketing, finance, operations. Now, BBA in digital marketing, business analytics, or family business is quite a specific program wherein the student has made his mind that this is the new age specialization that I want to opt for. But the students who want to get into finance and banking or other areas, please understand that all the areas of management are interrelated, and definitely all of them have a demand today in the job market. Okay, so that was one. Next question is from Aditi, and this she's asking about elaborating on the main personality types based on which a person can decide their career. So Aditi, there are different personality types. When I was talking about psychometric profiling, we do an MBTI analysis for the student, wherein the student gets a personality type. This is a personality indicator, wherein looking at your personality type, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, whether you have a sensing capability or a thinking capability, so that way we decide whether what should be the best career option for you. So for that, we do have certain MBTI webinars also for BBA students, wherein we do a personality analysis for you. We tell you this is your personality, and then you can opt for what all career choices. So in that case, if you require an MBTI webinar, please get in touch with Rubal here, and we will help you in analyzing your personality and telling you what are the best career choices as per your personality. According to me, what I believe is that there are 3 ways of looking at it. That is that there are 3 ways of deciding a career track. Number 1, look at the current job market scenario. You see, everything is digitalized at the moment. We, all of us, even academics, education here is virtual. Everything is going virtual. So number 1, look at the current job market. Think about it from a longer perspective. Second, what I believe is your own internal personality. That is what you are, what are you good at. So finding the best personality and your career fit. And the third one, what I feel is that when you actually choose a particular specialization, even if you have no interest in it, but you develop an interest, because right now I might not be sure about myself. Am I good in analytics? Am I good in finance? Am I good in HR? Maybe after a year or so, I may be able to decide. So just think about it, what you are, what is the best method that suits you, and then choose your career options. So for personality analysis, we do have an MBTI assessment. We have a webinar for that. And Aditi, I'll be sharing your information with Rubal, and she'll get in touch with you regarding the same.
Professor
Any
Jaya,
other student?
Professor Jaya, I'd like to add on to what you are explaining. Just give a few pointers.
Sure.
The question is from Aditi, and I'm addressing to all of you. It's not just Aditi for that matter. See, at this point in time, personality development, personality different traits might be very new thing for you. Just to put matters simply, see, there would be some of you who would be very good at doing procedural things. For instance, if you are asked to pick up a form from a particular place, fill in the details properly, then take it to another person, get it signed, and then get it posted. To ask that person to do that work 100 times, they would do that work 100 times without committing a single mistake, right? So that's kind of work. There would be some people who would be amazing in sitting in front of the laptop and crunching numbers, doing analysis, then coming up with charts and graphs and putting them in a PowerPoint and presenting that, right? Some people would be very good at drawing and creativity, right? So you ask them to create something, design something, they do it amazing. Now these are 3 different types of jobs, right? 1, very procedural, every time you have to do it perfect. 2, it's an analytic, so you have to sit in front of the computer and analyze it in the best possible way. And the 3, it is creative, so you let your imagination fly. Now you figure out if this guy who is very good at all that creativity and stuff, and you ask him to do that first job. Out of 100 times he would be asked to do the job, probably 70-80 times he would commit a mistake, right? Because he is not meant for that job. He is meant for creativity. He is meant for letting his imaginations fly. Or for the other matter, someone who is very analytic in nature in terms of his mindset, right? And he is very good at analysis and creating and crafting documents. Now you ask him to do that creative job. Every time there would be no creativity at all, because his thought process is very structured, and that is what he loves to do. Now you as a person, for the next 2 years program, probably if you want to pursue MBA later on, but give me your 2 years or 3 years of your BBA program. You have to explore yourself, and you have to figure out what you are exactly good at. What is that one thing that you would love to do, not just for the next 2 years, for the rest of your life? If you get to do that, that means you have your personality and your job profile has matched. I don't know exactly what in HR it's called that. I'll probably Joanna might share some idea, but just to summarize things in a nutshell, this is what we are talking about when we are saying, okay, your personality has to match the kind of job that you would be doing at a later point in time. Over to you, Jan.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Aditi. And for all of you. Sir is absolutely right. We all know how, what is that basic thing that we have. Somebody likes to work with numbers, somebody likes to be in a creative environment. Force somebody to be in a rigid environment, it will be very difficult for that person to actually work. All right, so the next question here is for Professor Rick and Professor Chirag, both of you. So there's a student who says, I'm confused between business analytics and digital marketing. So which is the best one that the student should pursue? So you can give the answer jointly.
See, this is something, because, when I say digital marketing and business analytics, however, since we have actually, we have separated these two things, because, digital marketing, is a particular course which requires a particular set of skills. That is fine, but let me tell you that the confusion of this student is absolutely correct, because most of the things in business analytics and in digital marketing are common. So because there are few things which, for example, Google Analytics, which is a part of business data analytics, web analytics, which is a part of digital marketing, digital analytics as well, digital marketing, okay, and it's a part of data analytics as well. So there are so that is why, and hence the confusion. But fine, now what happens in case of digital marketing as such? The focus would be given to more of the marketing aspects and the digital businesses aspect. But in case of business analytics, the focus would be given to one is called data science. That is how to manage a particular data. Okay, how to manage a particular data, how to handle a particular data, how to analyze the data, how to work on various data analytics tools. For example, R, Python, and SPSS and Advanced Excel. But in case of digital marketing, as Professor Rick said, or digital, whatever you call about, or digital businesses even, you need to understand all the aspects of functional areas of business which can be used digitally. So here the student actually has to decide whether he wants to enter into the analytics part of a data, wherein he will be helping the managers to analyze the data and then convert the data into information, then ask the managers to take the decision on the basis of that information. In case of digital marketing, or in case of digital marketing itself, the student has to be more focused into using various social media platforms, wherein he will be using Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or so many other Quora kind of these kind of platforms, and then he will be doing its businesses actually. So this is actually what, so this is the decision of, this is the call of the student, that in which particular area, in which particular domain he wants to enter. This is what actually I would like to say. In case if Dr. Rick want to say something on it.
So I mean, most of the topics you have already covered, Professor Chirag. But just to put matters simply, when I'm looking at analytics, that analytics, like Professor Chirag earlier pointed out, that analytics essentially means analyzing data. I mean, the data come in various forms, various shape. It can be online data, digital data, customer service. It can be financial, stock market data, right? So when I'm looking at specialization in business analytics, which means I would have the proficiency in analyzing data across disciplines of business. For instance, I would understand how to analyze data in finance. I would understand how to analyze data in marketing. I would know the nuances of analyzing HR data. I would know all the tools and techniques to analyze any other forms of data that comes in, and I should be in a position to make sense out of that data and probably draw my inferences and suggest the management to take decisions accordingly. So that is what business analytics is all about. It's about analyzing. Our objective here is to analyze data and come up with solutions. Now, data can cover any field, any domain pertaining to business, right? But when I'm looking at digital marketing, it is essentially a specialization in the bigger domain of marketing, right? Anything and everything that you learn in marketing, how you go ahead and do that digitally through a digital platform or a digital medium, that is what is the specialization in digital marketing all about. And the yes, indeed, like Professor Chirag pointed out, that there is analytics, but here the data is only very specific to marketing and customer and consumer related data, right? It did not necessarily come from finance or HR, right? So here also we have synthesis of analytics, call that web analytics, where we understand customers' behavior when people are coming to the website, what they are doing. So they're all essentially analytics is a small part of understanding digital marketing, but yes, that is focused solely and solely on marketing related data. You need not go beyond marketing related data. And data analysis is just a small part of the entire digital marketing, which there are multiple things that comprises digital marketing. Yes, data analytics in the digital world is definitely a subpart to it. But business analytics is it takes a very different side. I mean, business analytics is essentially about, like I said, analyzing data can come from shape of any discipline of marketing. It not necessarily any discipline of management. It not necessarily be marketing, right? So, if I hope, given this to both of our discussions, you have a little bit of clarity on the specialization. Over to Jayama.
Aditi, I hope we have answered your question that, we'll be telling you about both the strengths of both the programs, and it's up to you now to decide what is your interest area. All right, next question is for Professor Davinder. The student is asking that how BBA will be helpful in my family business. How is it going to be beneficial?
So like I just said earlier, when you have to run a family business or any business, irrespective, and you would be close to like an owner or a CEO of that business, then at that point in time, you would have to look at all the elements of the business, which will start with generating revenue, which means to generate revenue, you need to understand how do you market your product. Then you need to understand how you're going to produce the product. Okay? So the production part, the manufacturing part would be important. Then to do all of this thing, you need cash, you need funds, you need finance. You need to understand how do you manage finance? How do you manage the financial statements? What do these numbers tell you? Okay? And then you have people working on all of these. You won't be running all of these things yourself. You would have some people, depending on how big or how large the operations is. You may have few who may be running into tens, maybe into hundreds also in some cases. Now, in order to be able to do these various functions, connect all of these together, you need to have an understanding of the concepts related to each one of them. So you need to understand what marketing is, you need to understand what manufacturing is, you need to understand what finance is, you need to understand what selling is, how do you manage people. So you need to understand all of them separately, and yet, because you're going to use them together, you also need to combine them up together, and that's where the general management function comes into. So over the 3-year period, the courses that you undertake would give you an understanding of the basic concepts in each of these functions separately to begin with. And as you go from first year to second year to the third year, you would start getting opportunities to interlink all of these concepts. So by the time you reach the third year, you would be doing more general management courses. And while you're doing this, you would then realize that how what you do in marketing has an impact on finance, or how what you do with your people would have an impact in terms of your costs. So you're able to do that. Plus, during this program, you would also get an opportunity to do certain simulations. These simulations would be course-based, course-specific. They could also be at a general management level simulations. The intent really is to provide you an opportunity to learn how to apply these concepts, so that when you go into your own family business, you are able to understand which tools to use, which tools to apply as you face certain problems. So this is what the endeavor is of the entire program.
Thank you, Professor Davinder. Next question is for Professor Chirag here. The student is asking whether if he wants to opt for a BBA in business analytics program, then what are the other certifications that will be helpful, and is a basic computer knowledge necessary to go for a specialization in business analytics?
Yeah, see, as far as the basic computer knowledge is concerned, yes, you need to have a basic computer knowledge. But when I say basic computer knowledge, I mean to say that I think everyone has the, knowledge of working on everyone has the laptop nowadays. Everyone has computers. They know how to work on Excel, how to work on Word, how to work on PPTs and all. So this is what basic requirement of business analytics is. Rest you leave, on the faculty, because the program is designed in such a way that in case you have to be determined that yes, you have to do it, irrespective of your specialization in your 12th class, be it's Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Commerce or Science. You have to be determined and you have to be confident that yes, you can do that. And if you be regular in your classrooms, do regular assignments, and you do regular whatever you are supposed to do in the classroom as asked by the teachers, then definitely you will be through. So this is one. So there is no prerequisite special knowledge of computer is required. Fine, basic, just fundamental knowledge of computer. This is one. Second thing is, as you said, ki what other certifications? Yes, definitely, you are right. In case if you think that while doing your BBA, if you want to do some extra, because we in BML Munjal University also provide, few courses, and we suggest few courses from Coursera or Udemy, that in case if you do these small courses of say 1 month or 2 months, yes, definitely these kind of courses, our certifications are going to help you in getting better job in the market, and you become more confident while facing the interviews of the employers. So this is, and what kind of courses and what kind of those certification courses are, that you will be given at the time of the when you will be doing the course that's in BBA. Yeah.
All right, thank you. There are a lot of students who are saying, who want to know that, how will they contact us after the webinar? So you will be shared the information. You will get our official email IDs. So in any case, if you have any queries, you can send us an email over the same. Taking one last question, the student is asking whether foreign language will be helpful with BBA. Of course, foreign language is helpful, and even we cover these courses in our BBA program structure as well. So these can be taken as other additional electives or other school electives which are offered. So German, Spanish and French are offered for the students. So the students who are interested in any of the foreign languages can opt for. Of course, it's a best combination if you have an additional skill or additional knowledge. Anyone else who would like to comment on the same? All right.
Yeah, ma'am, it would be great. I mean, I saw some questions where people are asking about our association with the foreign universities and how we get benefited out of it.
Okay.
You could just give the students a quick overview on that.
Question. Okay, so all right, so see, BML is mentored by Imperial College, and that's how we have student exchange. Student exchange in the sense that students go for a summer school there, they opt for a particular course, and this is done for the MBA students. Similarly, for the undergrad students, we have a tie-up with LSE. We have an MOU with LSE, and then students would go there for about 20-25 days, wherein the students study a particular course. The credits would also be transferred. They might be provided a certification that they have completed this course successfully there. We have MOUs with other universities also, other foreign universities like Warwick, and also this helps in student and faculty exchange, and also it helps in training, research for the students and faculty. Professor Davinder here, he handles the international exchange programs. So would you like to share some information here?
Yeah, I think you've covered a lot already. Thank you so much. The students who join the undergrad program at BML Munjal School of Management, you would have an option of going to LSE, London School of Economics, for a summer immersion program there. You would end up doing one course over there, whose credit would be accounted for as part of the program, and there are certain structure in terms of what gets covered there, or which admission team will be sharing with you as you go forward. Of course, it is looking from what is this year's condition. We got to be careful, and it's a conditional thing in the sense, would the conditions be okay to travel or not? Okay, so there were some students who were to go this year, but they had to postpone. We are hoping that next year onwards, the situation will be good enough for people to go.
So you're asking, one of the students is asking about the eligibility criteria for LSE. See, the eligibility criteria for LSE is wherein the student has already completed first year, some credits, some courses. So we map those courses. So once you're done with the first year, what are the CGPA requirements, what are the courses that need to be completed, will be sent by LSE to us, and then we map those courses. Okay, one student is asking whether, please tell us how this current situation will affect family business.
All right, so I think I will answer this. I think how this current situation will affect, it will not affect, it has already affected the family businesses. So what has happened is that what has happened is with this COVID situation, one, the consumer demand for almost everything has come down, okay, other than the essentials. So at your house itself, if you were to spend some time or observe, you would see that over the last 8 weeks, most of your expense would have been on essentials, things like everyday food items. Okay, you would possibly not have, I guess, most of you would not have had gone out to eat at a restaurant, which is not allowed anyway. You might have even reduced the delivery of food to your home. A lot of non-essential items, which would be, let's say, more of a lifestyle items, would have been on a low side on the purchase. That's the one area the demand has reduced. Secondly, because these lockdown came very, very suddenly, so the supply chain, so whatever are the supply chains, both which is the upstream and the downstream supply chain, those also have got disrupted. So now the supply chains are being rebuilt or re-energized. So there is a certain slowdown in the business. Third, of course, is that the money movement, which is very closely linked to the movement of the goods and the products, has also slowed down. So if there is a crunch, there is certainly a liquidity crunch in the market, and that is why the government has been trying to extend credit through various schemes and policies in order to reduce the liquidity crunch, and that would therefore help the businesses to establish the supply chain. Of course, these liquidity measures may not immediately give an impetus to the demand, but some of the studies which have come from China post their opening of the lockdown, what has been observed is that the demand upsurge has been fairly strong. So I think economists are hoping, or the policy makers are hoping, that as the lockdown measures are eased out and the economy start to open up, people start to move around, they are more confident of handling the COVID situation, the demand will also start to rise. Of course, the businesses would have to look at whether the demand would resurrect well in time for them, or do they need to look at a different kind of a demand there. They also would be cutting down on their expenses, which means all the expense heads would be very carefully watched and analyzed. If there is some expenses which are not essential, will certainly be reduced. So it's a very difficult time for businesses, especially the smaller ones. And I'm sure, and I hope, and I wish that whichever family is going through this challenge at a business level, they are able to come out successfully and with not too much of a pain, and can rebuild themselves and move on forward.
Thank you, Professor Davinder. Next is it necessary to choose new age specialization programs from first year onwards? Okay, Shreya, here I would like to say that in case if you are very clear with your specialization that I want to get into marketing, I want to get into analytics, or I want to get into family business, start from here. If you are not clear with your specializations at the moment, or you want to opt for a major and minor, a dual specialization approach, you can go for a BBA general program, wherein after completing 2 years, because you've studied all the courses, by now you have a lot of clarity of what you want to do, you can then opt for electives. It's as simple as that. I see myself as a digital marketer, I see myself as into business analytics domain, or I see myself as starting my own company. If I'm very clear about it right now, if I'm focused, go ahead. If you're not, no problem at all. So while we have faculty interactions during the interviews, we never ask the student what is the area that you want to get into. It's as simple as that. Some are clear, some are not. It's very simple. Some are very clear that after BBA they'll go for a higher education. Some are very clear that after BBA they might take some employment for about 2 years or 3 years and then may go for a postgraduate degree. So it's as simple. So think about it, what you want to do. And again, I'm telling you the same thing again, repeating the same thing. If you're clear with the specializations, go ahead, because there is a future in these new specializations, of course, but there is also a future in HR, marketing, finance, operations. Reason being that every industry needs all people from all the different aspects, all the different areas, all the different domains. And as we say in management, everything is interrelated to each other. Okay. Okay, now next, one last question here, because we're running out of time. The last question here is that student is asking about BBA in IT, that is BBA Information Technology. So IT, of course, used in every areas, every fields. We have a lot of courses in IT also, like leveraging IT for business, e-commerce, MIS. So digital marketing, again, we use IT there. Analytics also, we use IT. So IT is present everywhere. So these are core courses that we have in IT. We don't have IT as a specialization, but we have courses related to IT in electives. So the students can choose e-commerce, for example, as an elective. Professor Rick, would you like to share something, how IT and marketing are interrelated and what kind of specializations do we offer there?
See, if I'm talking about like 5-10 years back, there used to be a specialization as operations and IT, right? Because at that point in time, businesses were still integrating a lot of these digital tools and techniques into their business, right? Now, IT is a hygiene factor. You have to have IT, right? So you have to learn business. For instance, like when talking about business, you need to know economics, you need to know business statistics. Like similarly, you need to know IT. So there is no way you have to go ahead and do a specialization. You will less likely find a specialization in IT. I mean, across different universities. Maybe few universities are still providing this specialization, but now IT is an integral part of business. So like when you go through the first year of the BBA program, you would have courses, specific courses, which would give you that perspective. Like Professor Jaya was talking about, you would learn about MIS, you learn about leveraging IT for business. So these are courses, core courses. So you need not go ahead and do specializations, right? Earlier when the specialization in IT and operations was there, so they were actually a mix of what you would learn in digital marketing and analytics and IT all put together as a specialization. Now, digital marketing has developed as a field because there's so much to learn there. Analytics has developed as a field, there's so much to learn there. And IT being an enabler. So IT is still there, but we don't have a specialization for IT. I mean, on the contrary, we have specializations in digital marketing as well as business analytics. And IT you would anyways learn in your core courses.
Okay, so thank you so much. I would like to thank all the panelists here for their valuable inputs, and I would also like to thank all the attendees here for your amazing questions that you have asked. It shows that you're very dedicated, clear, and focused, and would definitely like to join the BBA program. So I hope that we have created some sort of stimulus here, wherein you would be thinking now about new age specializations. If you have any queries, please do get back to us. You will be sent our official email IDs. If you have any other queries related to the international exchange program, global immersion, about different specializations, statistical models, I see some more questions here. So because of the lack of time, we won't be able to cover all the questions. I hope we have covered maximum. So in case if you have anything else coming up, please let us know. We'll be happy to address all of them. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.